Now, let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Julio Capo, and let's queer up gay culture. 7 million queer elders are coming, and LGBTQ plus retirement communities are stepping up. By 2030, more than 7 million queer Americans over 50 will call the United States home, nearly double today's number. Yet many queer elders still face major challenges in aging with dignity. Discrimination from lawmakers, elder care staff, and healthcare systems continue to leave many without access to gender-affirming or culturally competent care. Because of these inequities, queer seniors experience higher rates of depression, dementia, and chronic illness, making inclusive housing more urgent than ever. And the need is personal. LGBTQ plus elders are twice as likely to live alone and 4 times less likely to have children than their straight peers. According to SAGE, that's Services and Advocacy for GLBT Elders, queer seniors have been denied shared rooms with partners or told to hide their identities in care facilities. Quote, "The fear of going back in the closet remains a real and painful possibility," end quote. To counter that, LGBTQ plus affirming retirement communities are emerging nationwide, offering safe, inclusive environments, staff trained in affirming language and care, and spaces for belonging. Among them are the Connie House in Boynton Beach, Florida, and the Palms of Manasota in Palmetto, Florida. And even if not all queer elders can access these havens, support networks like National Resource Center and LGBT Aging and SAGE connect seniors to inclusive housing and care options. I have to say, this is something as a historian that I think about a lot, right? Because we see so many different generations of some version of the story, and it's all fairly recent, right? Because that is, we think about kind of course, queer people have existed across space and time forever. But the idea of like a gay identity is somewhat new, right? So like that is, 1940s into the 50s really in earnest when people start more identifying as gay and lesbian, and there's like these kind of identities that are clearly formed. And then, as a result of what happens with HIV/AIDS beginning in the 1980s, we lost so many people at an early age. So the kind of idea of aging elders in such large numbers in some ways is a really new and unprecedented thing that we haven't dealt with all that much since really the 1990s, right? Like that's when we start seeing it happen the most. And lots of places, including where we, nearby where we are right now to Wilton Manors, have kind of become these gayborhoods that often court and have housing available. But the problem remains they are so expensive. And they really are just, and of course these are the housing facilities that are available in these kinds of spaces where you can find a gay doctor, where you can find a gay, and they're just so difficult to access. And this goes back to our questions earlier and our points earlier. What we really need, this is also just, of course, an issue of affordable housing, of access to healthcare, all these things that we simply just are losing so quickly. And we need to just understand that these are part of the same story.
I think everything is easier when you have money.
Yeah.
A lot of the problems just simply go away. And for a lot of the LGBTQ elders that don't have money, and let's remember one other major factor, a lot of LGBTQ people don't have children.
Right.
And that's a major difference between them and their peers and in the straight community, by not having someone to look after you, by not having maybe a network of friends that will take care of you, and it's really not their responsibility. So it's going to be a real problem for a lot of these people that are growing older, that don't have children, that are watching and taking care of them. They live alone in a home where things can happen. Your kids will hopefully your kids will take care of you as you age. And having that network is paramount to having a safe and maybe thoughtful, extended life.
I hear you, and not to completely drag us all down, but there are a lot of facts when dealing with the graying of America. Like, I'm not surprised they mentioned 2030. Who's turning 50 in 2030? People born 1980, the very beginning of the millennium.
Right.
Like, you already have the baby boom. It's now starting to retire.
Wow, yeah.
Now millennials will be getting older by the 2030s. And in the 2030s is when Social Security stops being able to make its payments. People will get about
theoretically.
The theoretical is if we don't raise taxes, your Social Security check gets cut 20%. That's what will happen. There'll be no other way for the government to handle it. Like, that's a real thing. But what we can't ignore when we're talking about aging, and I'm glad we're talking about queer aging because it's going to get really serious. Not only, Yes, queer people and straight people did not have babies starting in the Great Recession. No. This year was the first year that colleges started seeing a decline, not because of, people say, oh, well, Trump did this, like he did, but like the number of 18-year-olds this year are less than the number of 18-year-olds last year. Like we have less young people, and now you're seeing, since March, 1.7 foreign-born workers have left the country. Between them and people retiring, the U.S. workforce has contracted by about 800,000 people, 800,000 less workers. That's going to keep happening in overdrive between those policies and the graying of America. We're not going to have people that are going to be able to take care of us in 2030 or in 2040, when I'm like getting ready to actually hopefully get a Social Security check, which by then will, be a couple of coupons. There's not going to be any nurses. There's not going to be. We're in for a real road of pain if we do not make dramatic.
Oh my God, you're painting such a dismal
picture,
though.
Debbie Downer over here.
When it comes to American retirement, if we don't start making it out like the emergency it is, I don't know what we're gonna do at that point. Like, we're gonna be like, what's that movie where no kids were born in England anymore?
Well, before I want to kill myself after listening to you. I mean, I'm ready.
Have that effect on people?
Oh my God, I'm ready to die here. Is this poison?
I mean, also, I think we have to face reality. Things are looking bad, but I also want to, I'm more of a silver lining kind of guy too, or I like to pretend that I am, at least in public. I'm kidding. And one of the things that I also take out of this story is the power of queer kin. That is, if we don't have children, and if we don't have, if some folks, right, if their families have shunned them, and our community is our family in so many really important ways. And I know how many folks who are older that I make sure that they're okay very regularly. It's what we do for each other, and it's not the same, and it's not a replacement, and it's not a substitute. But I also just want to say the power of queer community is queer family, and I think that's so important to the story.
You are that. I like his response.
It's hopeful, adopt a twink kid, then maybe when you retire, they'll be there for you.
And let's not forget, just like you talked about SAGE and those organizations, there are a lot of great organizations that are looking out for these older, queer men and women and helping them age gracefully, because it's a time in your life as you get older, you want to still have that beautiful inner part of yourself shine, and the dignity shine on. And I'm so thankful we have these great organizations in the community helping out.
And all the more reason then, of course, support them, right? That is, if you're able to, please support these great places that are doing. Absolutely,
because you're going to be there one day. I never thought I was going to be here. You'll be there one day.
That's a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.